Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to take a look at our Vermibag Max. Now, last time we added over 7 pounds of food, and we've been doing fairly large feedings with this system. Now, this time I've kind of shrunk it a little bit. We're down to about almost 7 pounds. We're just shy of 7 pounds. I mean, really, it's close enough to be 7 pounds, but we're going to say we're still under 7 pounds. We're at that 6 pound, 15 ounce mark. But we're going to go ahead and add a lot of food to the system. It's not as much as normal, but it's still a lot for a lot of these systems. And we're going to try to continue to do it. Now, it's been 31 days since my last update, which is a little longer than I wanted to go. I really wanted the max to be about 30 days. On the short end, about 14 days or 2 weeks. So we're a little bit past that, but I'm going to try to get better at getting into this rhythm of checking these a little bit more frequently, adding more food. And we are also adding something new. I've been starting to add this to my systems, and that is right in this bucket right here, activated charcoal or biochar. And while it says biochar, I don't feel that's 100% accurate. It was in a sealed plastic bag, which I would think means nothing's alive in there. And biochar is supposed to have like an active ingredient, such as you soak it in worm tea or things like that. So I'm adding it to my systems to get it activated, and that way when I add this castings and everything to my yard, they already have biochar in it. So I think this is a great way to do it. And also it's going to help balance out the system. Now, somebody did ask in my last video, is it acidic or an alkaline? How is it? And it's like 7.7. Some people were saying on the pH scale. So that's really close to center. So anything that, like the crushed eggshells that I'm adding and, lemons and limes, I'm adding stuff on both sides, and they should sort of balance each other out really. I'm not too worried about it. I figure the worms can deal with whatever I'm putting in there, as long as like everyone I've thrown in tons of lemons, they've had no issues. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just excited that it's going to come out on the other side. I can add it to my yard and my gardens and get more nutrients in my soil. So that is the goal behind this. And also it sequesters carbon, since this should last a long time in my soil, well beyond my life and beyond my kids' lives and probably grandkids' lives. So with that, let's take a look at the Vermibag and see how it's doing. All right, here is our Vermibag Max. So let's go ahead and open this up. See what we find in here. First off, I will say that the fruit fly issue in all my systems seems to be gone. This is pretty black in here. I don't know if it looks like there's a lot of fruit flies in here, but I have to say I haven't seen any in the system. This probably needs a refresh, but I can do that a little bit later. We've got our cover on right here. Let's just take a look here. Now with this cover, one thing I noticed, first off, there's moisture on the top, and on here, this cardboard is really wet. And because of that, I see worms on the surface. I don't see that on a lot of my systems, these large systems, because of the fact that I think the worms themselves are a little bit too afraid to go to the surface because it's drying out. Now, if you can see on here, there are tons of springtails. So I've got tons and tons of activity in the system. We've got a little baby worm right over here, it looks like. I think you can see that. But yeah, so this cover, it's covered with stuff, but it's fine. There we go. We put that all to the side. And by the way, sorry for the long intro this time. Didn't realize how long it was until I hit stop on the thing. It was a couple minutes instead of my normal 30 seconds to a minute intro. But here we go. So we've got our system here. You can see the worms are starting to work on this. You can see the castings on the top. Let's just zoom you in just a little bit. There we go. And you can see it's a little bit dry in the corners. That's normal. But we're going to start by digging at these corners. And look at this. They are right up to the surface here. Right underneath the cardboard. Look at that. So we're just going to kind of move this over a little bit. We're just scraping the surface really. So let's just dig down here and see what it looks like inside. And you can see, oh, got a mango seed right here. Those take a while to break down. That's normal. But you can see they're really working on this paper underneath here as well. There's a little bit, but not a whole lot in here. And remember, I did add what was it, the pine shavings at some point to the system as well. So they sort of work through those. Another mango seed. Lots of worms in here. These reds are really chewing this stuff up. This is really the perfect type of weather for them. We've had it's been a sort of a weird, I mean, we're almost into summer here fully, with it being June. What is it today? The 10th. And, they typically were really hot. It gets really humid, but it's been sort of cold nights with it being down in the 50s and then nice and warm during the day. So we get a good mixture of temperatures, and these worms are really doing a good job with that. They seem to be doing really well. All right, let's just move this over now. As again, you can see there's the cardboard on top is not fully touched. You can see a whole bunch of worms running away over there. But they're starting to come up to the surface here as they are looking for food. As we have these maybe, well, this is like, it looks like the shell of an avocado, but it looks like it's, look at that, it's like empty. I've never seen that before really for avocados. Normally there's a little bit more there and they're kind of crunchy, but this one they've sort of left the outside shell complete, but the inside's completely hollowed out. Let's just go ahead and dig this up a little bit too. All right, this side we see some of these shavings that I was talking about. You can see them in there. So the pine shavings are still in there. They're breaking down, and it's fine if they come out on the other side. The idea is to just add some bedding material in there that's a different texture. You can see they're really finding their way around in here and working through stuff. So they're doing a good job. This feels very compacted though. I will need to harvest this. I've been sort of putting that off on all my systems because of the weird temperatures lately. It wasn't, and very little rain. We had a thunderstorm roll through, but we're way below our normal moisture content for this time of year. And I'm afraid if I put this stuff down in my yard, it'll just dry out and turn into a mess of really hard material like mud. So a lot of worms here though. You can see that they're really working through this. They're doing a great job. The system's doing really well. I'm very impressed with the recovery of this system after having so many issues with it, with flies and drying out and then too wet and then drying out again. That this is just, I mean, like, it's really doing well. And it does, I find these systems do much better the higher they are, I should say, as far as material. When they start getting really, really low, they start having issues maintaining that moisture content. So we're going to go ahead and spread this back out. The system looks great. Just spread this back out. We're going to give the worms a chance to run. And we're going to go ahead and add the biochar that we had talked about. So we're going to go ahead and add that into the system. I'm not adding a whole lot each time. You know, just a couple cups worth. Just making a layer of it in the system. And this is dry, so it is going to absorb some of the moisture in here too. But the idea is just to, let's put all that in there. The idea is to just give the biochar something to latch onto. This is microbial as far as the way it works. For those that didn't see it before, but it's hard to tell now because now that I put it in here, let me just even grab a handful of it. You can see it's sort of, it's not like crunchy in a way. It's more like in ball form, so that way it kind of rolls around a little bit and rolls right off my gloves. It's not like it's not flat like the cardboard or anything like that, or just like ground up pieces. It's actually in like a ball form, which I'm hoping is good. You know, it looks like they had good reviews online and everything. I'll leave a link down below so you can purchase it on Amazon. But if you're looking to buy it. But I bought this a while ago, and I've been meaning to add it to my yard, but I wanted to wait till I did some aeration and things like that to kind of sequester carbon like this in the ground. And I'm going to look to maybe make some of this biochar actually at some point. So with that, let's go ahead and add our first thing of food. Give the worms a chance to run down there while I was kind of talking. Actually, I still see some on top. I'm just going to throw down a little bit of dry cardboard on here. I just don't want to shock any with just really, really cold material going right on top of them. So I've got some dry cardboard over here. Just going to kind of sprinkle this on just a little bit. There we go. Okay, that'll work. I think I spilled a whole bunch on the floor. I'll have to clean that up later. All right, first container here. All right, let's see what we've got here. I see some asparagus. I see some, I think this is lettuce, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's lettuce. Saw some tea leaves. Our normal stuff that we go through, but we've been going through a lot of asparagus lately. So I've got a pear in here, my coffee grounds, I should say my wife's coffee grounds since I drink tea primarily now. But so we're going to continue to move this stuff around. Some bananas, coffee filter, more coffee grounds. Just trying to break these open a little bit to let the worms in there. Otherwise they take a little longer to break down. Banana peels. This is a tea bag right there, which had actually, I think, like a lemon tea in it. As you can see right here, you can see that it's a lemon tea instead of a tea. More green tea leaves for me. Oh man, this one's really frozen together. All right, we've got some more tea, some coffee, tea grounds over there, some strawberries, banana. There's a good mix of food in here. We've got veggies, we've got fruit, we've got some really high nitrogen with the coffee, which we almost always have. Tea, I'm not sure how tea is in here. I mean, I know it breaks down and everything, but I just don't know how well it does. This is pretty solid here, this chunk in the middle. I feel like I need an ice pick to get it apart. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this apart anymore. We'll try a little bit. This looks like a banana peel with some tea leaves. There we go. Another big thing of coffee grounds, banana peel underneath. Now, I typically leave the biggest chunks, by the way, in the center. And I don't think I've ever mentioned that before, but the center is going to get the most moisture, I feel, and the most rebound of that moisture into the system. So I tend to leave the larger chunks in the center instead of putting them towards the outside where they might not really get the content that's needed. All right, I can't break that apart anymore, so we're going to go ahead and leave that. This was a fairly, well, it's a lot of different stuff. A lot of it's very brown looking except for the green asparagus. I'm going to just knock this piece of cardboard that fell over here. All right, this one's a little bit more colorful, it looks like. And you can tell we got the clementines in there, or if I can open it. Got to open it from the other side. This one's, the other one was green and brown. This one's orange. Carrots, nice carrot mix in here. Lots of coffee and tea. It looks like there was some moisture that made it in here. It kind of froze everything together. There we go. Peel that apart. We got some of my tea leaves in there. Coffee grounds. I'm just trying to spread this out. We've got lots of clementines in here. A couple mostly peels, but there is one full clementine. It looks like, as you can tell, this one started rotting before we could get to it. Actually, that one still has the plastic label on it. Oh, well, that'll come out the other side. Or let me scrape that off real quick. Let me grab a knife. So I'm just gonna see if I can peel that off. There we go. There we go. Got that cutie sticker off, so I feel better about that. I don't like having plastic in my systems if possible. Surprised somebody left that on there. Normally I'm pretty good about peeling that stuff off if I see it. So there we go. And we've got this big ball of carrot. Now carrot, I will say, that can tend to dry out a little bit. But hopefully with the way this is, we'll be able to break it apart a little bit in here. There we go. Break off a chunk of it. All right, I don't think I'm going to do that again. There we go. We broke off some of it there, and we'll leave that big chunks in the middle, as I said, sort of towards the center. And now there's one other thing I'm going to add to this, and I do have a mask while I do this. I'm going to want to finish off some of the flour. I'm putting on my mask now. I have this flour that is way past expired. I'm not talking like, a year or two. I think it's like, it expired 3 years ago, and it's been sitting in the cabinet. So we're going to add a whole bunch of it to this. This might heat up a little bit. That's perfectly fine. Worms can move up into it. I just want to finish this off and get rid of this container. It was sort of kind of wet in the cabinet. And now we're going to go ahead and put our cardboard on. So, got a whole bunch of stuff in here. The flour really doesn't add a lot of weight, so I'm not too worried about that. Oh, some of the water spilling out in here. There we go. Got our big bucket of cardboard. This is pre-soaked. As you can tell, we're filling this right up to the top again. Move this around a little bit. Get that sort of going. And this system did have that moisture on the top on the plastic, so I'm not too worried about moisture in this system, but I do like to always add a little bit of moisture. And this is the mix that has BTI in it, the water that I add to these systems. And BTI is the dunks, which I have linked up in my profile somewhere. And I found that this really helps just sort of lower. It doesn't eliminate, I think, but it lowers the amount of fruit flies and things like that I see in my systems, I find. So there we go. That is our big feeding. A little bit of, I'm going to just, again, a little bit of cardboard over here to this side, right over there. There's just a little bit of a gap. I like to kind of make sure everything's covered at least a little bit. There we go. And now, oh, almost forgot. Got to put my plastic back on top here. And we're going to go ahead and put in our little container again. Back in this corner right over there. Back you up a little bit there so you can see the whole system here. A little bit of gaps around the sides. Lets in enough air, and we can go ahead and close this up, and we are done for today with this system. We'll hopefully come back within the next 14 to 21 days. 30 days is a little longer than I want, but it's fine. But 31, I really was trying to make 30 the longest it would go for that 1 month. But there we go. There's our update for the system. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I'll try to get back as soon as I can. Thank you for watching.